My name is Faye Taylor. I'm still a Bulluck Bear. I'm just retired now. For 12 years, I was blessed to work there at Bulluck School as your principal. You might see my picture in the hall sometimes when you're going down to lunch. I would love to tell you that I am very pleased to be asked to share some of this book with you. We are reading Beatrice Zinker's book entitled Upside Down Thinker. By now, you know a lot about the story, and I'm going to share chapters 16 and 17 with you. Into the Trees is the name of chapter 16. Classroom B was dark and empty when Beatrice slipped inside. The screaming sounds of recess seeped through the windows. Beatrice lifted up the blinds and Lenny's glasses and to get a better view. Second recess was in full swing. If she hurried, she could still get to Lenny with enough time to properly kick off Operation Upside. Beatrice found the door, pushed her way outside into the light. A kickball flew past her head. A rush of teammates trampled in front of her, shouting, "Get it! Get it!" Beatrice weaved through the chaos to the tree line. She scrambled up the first trunk and charted her path to the back of the playground. Just as she was about to make her first move, a crisp breeze blew right through the trees, rustling the leaves, sending a chill down her spine. Beatrice froze. She held her breath, she gripped the trunk, hanging and hoping it was nothing. A branch snapped beneath her. Now here's the picture. Let's see what's going to happen next. Then came the voice. "Where do you think you're going in that get-up?" It was not nothing. It was Evelyn Tamarack. Her teacher showed up at her, scowled at her, whistled in her ear at the ready. Beatrice stared down at Tamarack's furry face. She needed to stay calm. She needed to stick to the truth. Ninjas did this kind of things all the time. "I'm on my way to see Lenny," she stated. "It's important." Miss Tamarack nodded. She circled the tree, her whistle still between her lips. "I have a message for you from Mrs. Cindy." Reaching into her pocket, she extracted a slip of paper and snapped it open. The note flapped in the breeze. Beatrice closed her eyes and braced herself for the impending doom. "We should have waited in the office. We should have waited for Miss Cindy's permission." Miss Tamarack cleared her throat. "Miss Cindy wanted you to come to know she talked to her mother, your mother. Apparently, she was on her way to school with another outfit for you, but Mrs. Cindy let her know that you already found a change of clothes." "Oh," Beatrice exclaimed from the tree trunk. "Oh, okay." Let me show you now. This is the picture. Mrs. Cindy also said to thank you for delivering Eleanor's glasses. Mrs. Tamarack paused over her words, like it was difficult to even say them. She said, "You're very welcome." Beatrice lifted her head, nodded at Mrs. Tamarack. "Please tell Miss Cindy I was happy to accept the mission." Miss Tamarack narrowed her eyes. Her whistle shrilled a little. Beatrice steadied herself on the branch. "You'll get to call her yourself if you're not more careful." up there?" Miss Tamrick nodded and scolded. "Is something wrong with the ground?" Beatrice peered down at her teacher. Her eyes shifted across the field to the wooden playground tucked in the back. From her perch, Beatrice could see exactly where she needed to go. Everything seemed possible. She grasped the trunk tighter and shrugged. "I just like the trees." Miss Tamrick's whistle wiggled between her lips. Her hands clenched on her hips. I'd better go," Beatrice said quickly. She pointed at the glasses on her face. "Lenny needs these." Miss Tamrick pinched the bridge of her nose. "Make it quick, Miss Zinker. Recess is almost over." There is Beatrice, still on the tree, waiting to come down. Chapter 17. It's a sign. When Beatrice reached the play structure, something was different. A paper sign hung above the open doorway. Masking tape held it in place. Thick black letters spelled out the word VET. I bet you know what that says. Vet. It was official. Chloe's clinic had staked its claim to the best spot on the playground. Staring at the sign, the loss bothered Beatrice less than it did earlier. It seems different things can work out. Operation Upside would never find another headquarters. Some losses were worse than others. A secret base was replaceable. Lenny Santos was not. Dropping onto the roof, Beatrice shrugged her backpack off her shoulders and prepared to make her entrance. She began with Lenny's glasses. The world crystallized as she lifted the frames from her face, slipped them into her back pocket to keep them safe. The hat came next. She stuffed it into the bottom of her bag, next to the folder marked "Confidential." Flipping her head upside down, Beatrice parted the tangle of hair. Her fingers spun each handful into shape and secured both sides with classic elastic. She hooked her backpack on a nearby branch, setting it aside for later. Following the clamor of animal noises to the back of the building, she crawled to the edge of the roof and she peeked below. Inside were plenty of pretend pets and plenty of pretend pet owners, but Lenny was nowhere in sight. Unfazed, Beatrice crept into the front and checked the window by the door. Bingo! Lenny and Chloe were huddled together, debating who would diagnose a sick hamster and who would help a husky with a broken leg. Beatrice rapped on the wall. "Knock, knock." Chloe looked up. Lenny turned around. When they saw her, Chloe folded her arms and Lenny frowned. "Please tell me you are not a bat," said Chloe. Beatrice shook her head. "I'm done with that, but I do have a new idea, if you're ready." Lenny and Chloe never looked less than ready. Beatrice filled her lungs and proceeded anyway. "So, what is this place? What does it look like an ordinary, yes, a vet clinic to the average eye, but in reality, it's the headquarters of a top secret organization." "Beatrice," Lenny groaned. "What?" Chloe sighed. "There were two things you should know." She held up her index fingers. "First of all, this is no ordinary facility. We are world renowned. Another finger joined the first, and secondly, we do not participate in illegal activities. What if it's legal and good? Even Beatrice lowered her voice. Just a secret? We're just a nice, normal clinic, Beatrice, said Lenny. Exactly, said Chloe. I don't like secrets. With that, she spun on her heels and she walked away and she headed out of the room towards the hamster, the husky, and the other pets who needed her attention. Beatrice waited until Chloe stepped out of earshot. Then she motioned Lenny over to the window. Lenny took 2 steps forward, her whole face a frown. Don't worry, said Beatrice. I have a backup plan. She rubbed her hands together with anticipation. Want to hear it? I don't know, Beatrice. Lenny kicked the dirt with her toe. Dust billowed into a cloud around her. I'm still a little mad. Sunlight snuck through the woods, through the slats, and into the structure, covering Lenny in stripes. Her sparkly sweater flashed as Beatrice, each flicker was an accusation. I'm sorry, Beatrice told Lenny, shielding her eyes, her voice not quiet. I didn't mean to ruin your moment. It's okay, said Lenny. Her eyes floated to Chloe in the distance. You didn't? Not really. So, do you want to hear my idea? Fine, Lenny sighed. She didn't look excited, but she wasn't frowning either. Beatrice nodded toward Chloe. What if we let Chloe be Chloe, a normal medical professional, just like she said? Beatrice leaned forward. Her eyes were glowing. But what if you, Lenny Santos, are undercover? You could be a secret agent disguised as a veterinarian. You could be the secret eyes of our operation. Lenny glanced back at Chloe and fought a smile. You'll need a code name, and we need an emergency signal and a password as soon as possible. You should also brush up on your pig Latin and your decoding skills, of course. Lenny laughed. I didn't say yes yet, you know. I know, Beatrice reached into her pocket, but either way, you'll need these. Stretching her arm, Beatrice held out her hand, and her fingers unfolded like a flower. Lenny's bright green glasses rested in her hand. Hey, Lenny grabbed her specs. Where'd you get these? They turned up in my travels. Lenny slid her glasses over her ears. Better? Beatrice asked her. She reached over and pulled the veterinary sign off the doorway. Can you read this? She flipped it around. What about now? Behind her glasses, Lenny's eyes grew. Her mouth fell open. It says my name. She grabbed the paper from Beatrice's fingers. How'd you do that? I don't know, Beatrice studied the letters. I think it's the sign. Well, duh, said Lenny. No, I think it's trying to tell us something. Now let's show you the sign. And this was the sign. And when it turned upside down, that's what she had. Now, what do you think's going to happen next? Like what? Maybe that it's okay to be more one One more thing or more than one thing? Huh, said Lenny, flipping her paper back and forth, contemplating the changing words. So, what do you say, Lenny? The corner of Lenny's mouth turned up. I say, maybe. Maybe's good, said Beatrice. Maybe was very good. I'll be in contact, Beatrice told her. Expect me when you least expect me. She gave Lenny a thumbs up. That's a promise. Beatrice taped Chloe's sign back in the place above the door and disappeared into the trees. And here's your picture. Now, I've read to you chapters 16 and 17. We're getting near to the end of your book, but chapter 18 is a good one. It's entitled That Special Piece of the Puzzle. And you know, they said sometimes you have to find more than one piece of a puzzle to figure it all out. And I'm sure all of you have done that. I hope you've enjoyed the book to this point, and I hope you will enjoy the remainder. It's been my pleasure visiting.